Hi, thank you very much for your warm welcome. Uh, Good morning to all. Today, we are going to have a session on advanced trends in surface treatment solution. So before that, I would like to thank KCG College of Technology to giving me an opportunity to have this webinar with the students of mechanical engineering. And I still remember the college days, and some of the sweet memories are there in college days. Yeah, I don't want to stand on that, and I just want to move on to the session. So I'll just share my screen, start the presentation. Yeah, today's topic, what we have to discuss, what we want to discuss is advanced trends in surface treatment solutions. And as Sir was telling, right now I'm working as Deputy General Manager for Airblast Group. And Airblast Group is a big firm where about 2,500 employees are working, and it has offices in 11 different locations. We have factories in 4 different countries, and we have our distributors throughout the world in almost 33 different countries. And basically what we do, they are, as an Airblast, we do the surface treatment solutions. So I would like to share some of the knowledge, some of the recent trends in surface treatment solutions. And this will be the overview of the presentation. Initially, I'll be giving introduction about the surface treatment. Then I'll be going with the abrasive blasting. Then I'll be going with the painting and coating. Next to the new trends in blasting. Then the new opportunities for the mechanical engineers in the field of blasting and painting. And then we'll have an interaction section. This is what I am planning to have today. So in order to make the presentation a little more interesting, what I did, instead of having some words written on the PowerPoint, what I did is most of the information I am sharing with you are through videos and photos. So it will be more interesting to you, and you can learn, you can understand the concept much better. And initially itself, I would like to tell you that the videos right now I'm going to show you, as well as the photos, what all I want to show you is taken completely from our company details only. And it is 99% of the details are taken from our company. And the videos are also shared from my own personal file as well as from company's file. So I would like to give an introduction to the surface treatment. So this is the corporate statement of Airblast. You can see there, when working in heavy industries, only the strongest metals survive. Even the strongest cannot endure the extreme conditions unprotected. So it's very clear. So there it is clearly written that if a metal is working for a heavy industries, that means if I'm using a metal for a heavy industries, only the strongest metal can survive that. If some extreme conditions or the climatic conditions are extreme, then those strongest metal which we have selected for that particular job, that cannot endure that unprotected. So we need to protect the metals, and surface treatment is used for protecting that metals. So you can see there, I have given the definition for surface treatment. It's a possible way to obtain sufficient resistance against environmental attack, including oxidation and rusting, without spoiling the required mechanical properties of the substrate metal. You know very well what all products we manufacture, whether it is a mobile, whether it is a bottle, whether it is a fan, it has its own specific job to do. And we want that particular product to do its job. And for that particular product to do its job, we need to change the mechanical properties. We need to change. We need to protect the the materials in such a way that it won't get affected due to the environmental issues like oxidation, rusting, everything. And surface treatment, of course, it is not a new process. You know very well, gold was treated maybe in 4000 BC also, the treatment of gold was there. So it is not at all a new process. So before going to the advanced trends, I would like to give a brief introduction about what is surface treatment. So you can see here, different stages of product development, manufacturing. I don't want to go the steps which is on manufacturing level, but I want to focus only on the surface treatment level. So manufacturing, there are a lot of levels of manufacturing, you know very well about that. But after manufacturing, all the products must undergo a surface treatment to give specific properties of that metal, and then only it becomes a finished product. The advantages of surface treatment I have clearly given there: improve the hardness and durability, it rebuild the surface, increase corrosion resistance, and improves aesthetics, or it can add beauty to the product. So these are the advantages, or these are the benefits of surface treatment. So points of discussion on surface treatment, you know very well, there are many different types of surface treatment methods available. But right now, what I'm going to concentrate is blasting as well as painting. When you hear the term blasting, usually what comes to our mind is just the explosion blasting. But this is not the scenario here. We are going to discuss about abrasive blasting as well as painting and coating. I will just show you a video where it clearly explains what is abrasive blasting. It is not an explosion, but it gives an idea what is abrasive blasting. Just have a look at this video. So you can see there, this is the metal piece where completely rusting has happened. That means this metal piece was used for a particular operation, and after that it is completely rusted or worn or torn off. So you can see in that video, a completely rusted material is being converted to a new material or a new metal by using abrasive blasting. So when I'm talking about abrasive blasting, you can see there, abrasive blasting is commonly known as sandblasting, is the operation of forcibly propelling a stream of abrasive material against a surface under high pressure to smooth a rough surface, or to roughen a smooth surface, or shape a surface, or remove surface contaminants, and thereby make the surface ready for coating. So you know very well, you have seen that video, it is clear that a certain abrasive material is being forcibly applied onto the surface of the metal to be treated. So what happens is that what all rust is there on the surface of that metal is getting removed under that high pressure. And different types of blasting are, the first one is sandblasting, which you have seen the video. The second thing what we see is the bead blasting. Then comes the wet abrasive blasting. Then comes the hydroblasting. Next is the wheel blasting. And the last topic is automatic blasting or robotic blasting. So the last two topics, wheel blasting as well as automatic blasting or robotic blasting, are the recent trends in abrasive blasting. And all the other four, sandblasting, bead blasting, wet abrasive blasting, and hydroblasting, are traditionally followed methods. So today we will be discussing only about wheel blasting and automatic blasting or robotic blasting. So you can see there, this was the initial condition of the metallic plate. And after blasting, that same metallic plate is converted like this. And before going into that, we will just see what are the rust grades available. The first one, this is the first stage of rusting, where the steel surface is largely covered with mill scale, but there is no rust. It is the first stage of rusting. And then you can see the steel surface began to rust and mill scales began to flake. What all mill scales are formed in the stage one will be started to flake off. And then after that, the mill scale is already rusted away and slight pitting is visible on the metal surface. And the last stage of rusting is completely rusted and general pitting can be visible on the metal. And after blasting these same rust grades, what we will get, you can see in the next slide. So you can see here, this is the rust grade where the mill scales are formed. Then the rusting is happening, the rusting is started and the mill scales start to flake off. And after that, this is the final stage of rusting. And then when you're doing blasting, you can see there are different blasting standards. First one is SA1. This is the cleanliness of the blasting standards. Second is SA2. And third is SA2.5 and SA3. When you're doing the rust grade application with SA1, when you're doing blasting with SA1 is actually brush off blast cleaning. Just using the brush or sandpaper, you are just doing the blasting process. And with that, what happens is that the mill scales will be falling away, will be just removed from there. So when you are doing SA2 operation, that is commercial blast cleaning, the metallic surface will be like this. When you are doing 2.5, that means it is near white blasting cleaning, then the metallic surface will be like this. And if you are going ahead with SA3 with white metal blast cleaning, then the metallic surface will come like this. So usually in industries, we follow SA2 or SA2.5 because SA3 is really, it is sometimes impossible to achieve that in industrial level. So we always follow SA2 or SA2.5 where you will be getting the metallic profile or the metallic surface like this, these two cases. And the second rust grade, if you are blasting with SA2, what happens is that you will be getting the final product like this. If you are blasting with SA2.5, you will be getting the final product like this. And the last rust grade, that means the metal is completely rusted. If you are blasting with SA2, you will be getting the profile like this. If you are blasting with SA2.5, you will be getting the surface profile like this. And this is the traditional blasting machine and the personal protection equipment used for blasting. So you can see here, this is the traditional blasting machine where a cylindrical shape will be there to store the abrasive media. And what happens is that the compressor, which is outside the scene, will be switched on and high compressed air will be given onto the supply. And what happens is that this high compressed air will be entering the blast pot and the blast pot will be pressurized. And then there is no way for the abrasives to get out other than this way, where it is controlled by a micro valve or you can say a controlling valve. So when you are controlling this valve, what happens is that the abrasive which is there inside the cylinder will come out through the abrasive hose, which you can see here. And then what happens is that at the end of the abrasive hose, we are giving the nozzle, and out of the nozzle, high pressure of abrasives will come out, and this abrasive jet or jet of abrasive can be directed onto the rusted surface, and this rusted surface can be completely, or the rusting on the surface can be completely removed. So in order to do that operation, an operator or a human or a blaster who is doing that operation must be wearing this type of personal protection equipment. As I told you, almost 8 bar pressure is given from the compressor to the cylinder to pressurize the pot and to pressurize the abrasive to come out. It's a high pressure job. So of course they have to use this type of personal protection equipment for the operation. So you can see there, he'll be wearing the complete personal protection equipment, including the blast boot, including the blast gloves and the helmet. And you can see there, whenever extreme conditions are there, where the climatic conditions is meeting 40 degrees or 45 degrees, 40 degrees or 45 degrees, it is impossible for a person to put the helmet throughout the job. Maybe the blasting job will happen for about 4 hours or 5 hours. So it is nearly impossible for a person to put the blast helmet without again further protection. So what we are giving, we'll be giving, so you can see here on the cursor, you can see here, this is actually called as helmet air filter. So what happens is that we will be giving the compressed air connection to this filter also. And from this filter, there is a tube which goes side. So the helmet, the person who is wearing the helmet, sorry. There is a message from the admin. Can you hear me? Everybody can hear?
Yes, we can hear you, Johnson.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, okay. Okay, no sound in the video. Okay, fine. I think there was no sound in the video.
Yeah, I think, but now it is okay. Can you just go ahead and we'll see.
Yeah, fine. Okay, yeah. So you can see here, this is the helmet air filter, and the compressed air connection is given to the helmet air filter also. And from there, the outlet is given onto the helmet. And what happens is that the blaster will be getting cool air all the time. So this is actually the traditional method which we follow for the abrasive blasting. And then when we move to the detail of abrasive blasting, we need to create a surface profile. In order, you can see here, this is the unblasted smooth surface. So the surface, you can say it is almost smooth. And after that, what is happening is that the blasting will happen. And after blasting, the blasted profiled surface, you can see there, this is called as mountain and valley finish. So in a blast cleaning process, the grains of abrasives are propelled with great force or high force and energy to the work surface. Upon the impact of blasting, the grains dig into this and rebound out, leaving the surface a rugged miniature mountain and valley finish. This surface texture or roughness is called as surface profile. So surface profile is critical to coating performance because it increases surface area and provide a anchor pattern or a tooth pattern or a key pattern for the coating to lock and adhere to. So you know very well, after blasting, we will be obtaining the white metal or we will be obtaining the original state of the metal. But if you are leaving that metal such again like that, what happens is that the rusting will come back again. So in order to prevent that rusting, we need to coat the surface or we need to paint the surface. So for painting and surface, what you have to do is you have to create a surface profile. Without creating the surface profile, the paint will not adhere or will not stick to the surface to the smooth, it will not stick to the smooth surface. So what happens is that in the blast cleaning process, the abrasive particles which we are used for the blasting is propelled with very high energy or very high force onto the workpiece. And this workpiece, what will do, this abrasives, what they will do, it will blast the surface and create an uneven surface on the metal. And this uneven surface can stick or can adhere the paint coating what we are giving onto the surface. So you can see here an example. Here, this is the blasted surface, and when I'm applying the primer coating or a paint onto the surface, if what happens is that if 25 microns of primer only is applied, or 25 micron thickness of primer is only applied, what happens is that the primer will be sticking on some of the surfaces where blasted, but other surfaces will be open to the environment. And what happens is that again the rusting will start. If I'm applying 50 micron primer, what happens is that almost the profile which is created onto the metal surface is covered by the primer, but the problem is that there is no margin for safety. But the third stage is if I'm applying 75 micron primer or 75 micron paint, what happens is that the profile is nicely covered by a primer, and you can use this material again for the same purpose. This is actually the corporate video of Airblast. Just have a look at this. You will understand better about blasting and painting.
When working in heavy industries, only the strongest metals survive. But even the strongest cannot endure extreme conditions unprotected. To protect metals from these conditions, the smallest details are critical. At Airblast, we know each step of the way needs to be just right, starting with blast cleaning the metal surface.
Powerful tools with utmost precision. Airblast has got it all. From powerful blasting equipment and abrasives to ultra-precise inspection tools and high-pressure spray painting systems. No matter what conditions you face, we know what's best in each step of the process, because having it all also means we've seen it all. Airblast is your partner in protecting metals from the elements anywhere around the globe.
Yeah, you have seen the corporate video of Airblast, and in that it is clearly telling what is blasting, what is painting, or what is coating. So next we are moving on to the painting or coating. So coating is a covering that is applied onto the blasted surface. So as I told you, after doing the blasting, we must protect the metallic surface, otherwise the rusting will happen again. For that purpose, what we are doing, we will be painting the metal surface. So that type of painting is called as that type of process is called as painting or coating. So coating is the covering that is applied onto the blasted surface. After blasting, if not coated, then the surface will again be in contact with the environment and it can again lead to rusting. Hence, coating is very critical in surface treatment. For example, epoxies, fireproof paints, texture paints, etc. can be coated onto the surface of blasted metals. So this is a typical painting machine which we can use. So you can see here, this is a painting machine where this is the suction of paint will happen through here. And as I told you, the compressed air connection is required for this machine also, or an electrical connection is required for this type of machines. So what happens is that this suction hose, the black color hose where you can see here, will be dipped onto the paint bucket and switch on the machine. And what happens is that the pump will start to take the paint from the bucket and it will be pressurizing. And through this port, you can connect 15 meter or 30 meter or 60 meter hoses. And through the hoses, the paint will come outside. You can just have a look at the coating video to understand it better. So as I told you, this is a blasted surface, and after blasting, you need to protect it. And for protecting, you are using painting machines. And using the painting machines, you can give a very good protection over the surface of the blasted metal. So this is how it works. So the video which I have shown you right now, this is actually of Graco Pumps. They are our partners in painting, and I have selected that video for better understanding. And I think it is clear for you. After blasting, what you have to do is you have to coat the metal to prevent further rusting. And then we will move to the advanced trends in abrasive blasting. So as I told you, as I have explained in the first slide, you can see there the types of blasting: sun blasting, bead blasting, wet abrasive blasting, hydroblasting. So these are actually the traditional form of blasting, where it's almost similar. You can see that the sun blasting means, I have shown the video of that. Bead blasting means when you want to do only light blasting, just you want to remove some kind of mill scales, or just the light blasting is required, then that type of blasting is called as bead blasting, where glass beads or plastic media is used for blasting. And then comes the wet abrasive blasting, where the mixture of water and the abrasives will be used for blasting. And then comes the hydroblasting, where high pressure water will be blasted or will be forcefully applied onto the surface of the metal. Up to 40,000 psi pressure water will be forced onto the surface. And the advanced or the recent development, you can say in last 5-6 years time, are the wheel blasting and the automatic blasting or robotic blasting. So today's topic will be more about this. So you can see there the advanced trends in abrasive blasting. First one is wheel blasting, and second one is automated blasting or robotic blasting. So I'll explain what is wheel blasting. So wheel blast machine, where the blasting is done when high-speed rotating wheels or turbines throw the abrasive on the surface of a metal. So in the beginning, I have told you what is abrasive blasting, where I have clearly shown you the photos as well as the videos of that. But here, a wheel blasting machine is also called as automatic blasting machine, where a high-speed rotating turbines or wheels will be there. And due to the rotation of that, the abrasives will be directed onto the surface of the metal and blasting will take place. And depending upon the size of the workpiece or number of turbines also varies. Maybe it can be 1 turbine, 1 wheel, or 2 turbines, 4 turbines, 6 turbines, 8 turbines. How many number of turbines or wheels you wanted to have, you can have on the machine. A typical wheel blast machine has the following components. You can see there the infeed. Infeed is used for loading the materials onto the machine. Second is the blasting chamber, where the rotating of wheels or turbines is happening. And the third one is the abrasive recovery and recycling system. You know very well, after blasting, the abrasives which is falling onto the metal needs to be recovered and needs to be recycled for the second use. So for that, a wheel blast machine always has abrasive recovery and abrasive recycling system. And then next is the dust collection system. Whenever blasting is happening, there is a lot of dust generated, and due to this dust, they need to be accumulated, they need to be collected, and we use a dust collection system for that. And the last component of a wheel blast machine, a typical wheel blast machine, is the outfeed. I will show you some of the videos to demonstrate this better. So this is the animation of a wheel blast machine. And before going to the animation, I will just show you what all components I have explained to you right now. This is the infeed, where the workpiece will be loaded. And this is the blasting chamber, where the blasting is happening, or the sun blasting or the abrasive blasting is happening, and where the turbines are also there. You cannot see the turbines, but you can see the turbine motor. This is the first motor, and this is the second motor, and maybe another 2 or 3 motors will be there, or another 2 or 3 turbines will be there. And then after blasting, what happens is that the abrasives will be falling onto this area, and then it will be recovered and taken through this bucket elevator for cleaning purpose, recycling purpose. Meanwhile, all this are automatic process, where blasting will be an automatic process. The abrasives will be falling onto the ground, and from ground it will be recollected or recovered, and then this is the complete system which is used for recycling the abrasive, and this is the dust collection. You can see there, this is the dust collection. And then what happens is that after completion of blasting, what happens is that the workpiece will come this side. And then what happens is that you can just unload the material. I will show the animation for your easy understanding.
So workpiece is loaded. You can see there it's a completely rusted workpiece. Workpiece is loaded and it is allowed to pass through the blasting chamber, and automatic sensors are there. When the workpiece is inside the blasting chamber, automatically the turbine wheels will start to rotate. So after blasting, you know very well, after the turbines is done, what happens is that the abrasives will be there on the surface or on the surface of the material. So you need to brush off that to the recovery pit. So this process is for brushing the abrasives which is there on the surface. And then the blasted abrasives will be falling onto the ground and it will be recovered. And you can see there the abrasives will be falling onto the ground and it needs to be elevated to the top for recycling purpose. And for that we use a bucket elevator. And you can see that these are the bucket elevators. And these bucket elevators will take the abrasives onto the top of the machine, and then these abrasives will be thrown onto the recycling system, where the complete recycling will happen. This is the process of recycling or cleaning the used abrasive. So the advantage of this type of cleaning is that you can reuse the abrasive maybe for 8 times or 10 times like that. This red dots denote the dust which is there inside the abrasive. So what all dust is there inside the abrasives will be collected through the dust collector, and what all good abrasives are there will come back to the system again for blasting purpose. So this is actually called as the cascade cleaning, where complete dust will be taken onto the dust collector and only the good abrasives will come back to the system. And what all recycled abrasives are there, it will be feedback onto the turbine again, the rotating turbine again. I will show you the real video of that. This is again a machine which is manufactured or supplied by Airblast only. So this is a pipe blasting machine where you can see this is the in-feed rollers. These rollers will be rotating, and due to the rotation of these rollers, what happens is that the pipe will be moving inside the blasting chamber. So you can see there, this is a completely rusted pipe, and you need to blast this. So the pipes are rotated and is feed into the blasting chamber. And blasting is happening inside this chamber. And as I told you, you cannot see on the real video, you cannot see the complete process which is taking place inside because it's a high pressure operation. So after blasting, this will be the condition of the pipe. The complete rust is removed from the surface. And whatever cleanliness standard you want to obtain, whether it is SI 2 or SI 2.5 or SI 1, whatever standard you require to have, you will be obtaining in that. So after the blasting, This is the automatic unloading of the of the workpiece, and the next job can be done. It's a continuous process. So this is a different type of wheel blast machine animation. BlastTrack is also our partner. So you can see there, this is actually another type of wheel blast machine. This is actually another type of wheel blast machine. Sorry. Which is portable. This is another type of wheel blast machine which is portable. The first one which I have shown you, that is actually not portable. That was clearly stationary one, where you will have to install that machine inside the factory, and what all job is to be done, or what all work is to be blasted, taken inside the, it needs to be taken inside the factory. But the second animation, what I'm going to show you, is actually a mobile wheel blast machine. You can see that animation.
Sorry, there is some technical problem. Give me a minute. So these are the abrasive media. These are the metallic shots which needs to be fed into the system for blasting. And this is the rotating turbine. The abrasives will be coming onto the rotating turbine, and these turbines will be rotating at a very high speed. You can say about 3000 RPM or 4000 RPM. And because of this, the turbines will be allowing the abrasives to fall onto the surface of metal to be blasted. You can see there, the abrasives is coming there. And what all dust is generated during blasting will be sucked with the help of a dust collector, and this goes through the dust collector. The dust collector will be collecting the dust which is there, and the abrasives will be coming back onto the system, little bit cleaned. I'll show you the real video of that. So this is actually the machine which is working at the site. You can see there, it's a ship deck actually, where the floor is actually completely steel, and you want to blast this. So this is the machine which I've shown as animation, and then you can see here, this is the dust collection hoses. So what all dust is generated inside the during the blasting process will be sucked through this hose and will be collected onto the dust collector. And the blasting is happening in this area, and the turbine is located somewhere here. The high stream of turbine will be, or the high stream of abrasives will be directed onto the floor. So you can see there, the previous painting or marking which was there on the surface is removed, the rust is removed, and whatever particles which was there on the metallic surface, previously rusted metallic surface, is removed with the help of blasting. This video is actually it's an animation of another type of wheel blast machine. This is called a spinner hanger machine, spinner hanger wheel blast machine. So just have a look at the animation, and then I will show you the real video also. So these are the workpieces to be blasted. So for that, what we are doing is that just hang the workpiece to be blasted onto the rotating arm of this workpiece and take it inside the blasting chamber. So the blasting chamber is opened. And then the turbines, you can see here, these are the turbines. The workpiece is getting rotated and the turbine starts to blast. After 3 minutes or 4 minutes, the complete job will be done. The first set of workpiece will be taken outside. Meanwhile, the second set of workpiece, which is already hanged on the second hanger, can be taken inside. I'll show you the real video also. This is actually our factory where we make the blast pots, which we have discussed in the previous slide, the traditional way of blasting. So you can see here, this blast pot, what we have manufactured, is surface treated or blasted with the help of spinner hanger wheel blast machine. So the workpiece is taken inside and just have a look at the initial condition of the workpiece or initial condition of the blast pot. This completely rusted. It is taken inside. Doors are closed. And then automatically the turbines will start to rotate and abrasives will be falling onto the surface of the metal to be blasted at a very high speed. And during this blasting itself, what happens is that what all abrasives are falling onto the ground will be collected by the recovery system, and what all dust is generated inside the blasting chamber will be collected onto the dust collectors that you cannot see in the video. So then I think the blasting was done for about 3 minutes. I don't want to show the entire 3 minutes. Now you can see the present condition of the workpiece or present condition of the blasted surface. Initially, before loading into the system, it was completely rusted. Now the complete rust is gone. The complete rust, what was there on the metallic surface is completely gone. And a profile is created onto the surface of the workpiece. And due to this profile, a very good coating can be applied onto the surface. But there are some disadvantages of wheel blast machine. As I told you, wheel blast machine is actually an automatic blasting machine, and which is one of the recent trends in surface treatment or blasting solution. Maybe it is used for last about 8 years or 9 years. But there are some disadvantages of wheel blast machine. It can damage delicate or thin parts while doing blasting because there is no control. There is very less control over the abrasive flow. And because of this, it can damage delicate or thin parts. You have a workpiece of about 1 meter and you want to blast only half a meter. There is no option for that. So it is not at all good for localized blasting. And then greater abrasive consumption. And it cannot be used for non-metallic abrasives like aluminum oxide or glass peat, but the abrasive must be metallic shots or grits. As I told you, there are different types of abrasive particles available. Non-metallic abrasive particles are there. Metallic abrasive particles are there. Non-metallic abrasives are like, normal sand can be a non-metallic abrasive. Aluminum oxide, DIs, all these things are non-metallic abrasives. But for a wheel blast machine is concerned, you cannot use these non-metallic abrasives for blasting. But it is compulsory that the abrasives which is used inside the wheel blast machine must be metallic shots or grits. And then the type of workpiece compatible with each wheel blast machine is limited. You have seen, if you want to blast a pipe, then you need to have one type of wheel blast machine. If you want to blast a cylinder, then you need to have another type of wheel blast machine. That means if you have 5 different products to be blasted in your factory, then you need to have 5 different wheel blast machines also, or maybe 4 different wheel blast machines also inside the factory. So it is like more expensive. You have to spend more money for that. So in order to overcome all these disadvantages, the R&D team, not only from our company, throughout the world, was thinking of a solution, and they came up with a solution of robotic blasting, which is the recent trend in surface treatment. So you can see there, this is the robotic blasting, and this is the robot. It has 8 axes of movement, and the blasters is given onto the surface of this with the nozzle. And this is the control cabin where you can control the entire robot, and just one person is enough to control this robot, and this robot can do any shape. As I told you, it will not damage delicate or thin parts while doing blasting. It is good for localized blasting. It has a very less abrasive consumption. It can use all type of abrasives, including aluminum oxide or glass bead or garnet or sand or metallic, whatever abrasives are there, you can use that. And with one robot, you can blast n number of products. Benefits of a blast robot. First is it is economical. I'm not telling the initial investment is high. Of course, the investment is short. Tireless workers, 24 hours also they can work, and high efficiency can be achieved by high pressure. Then the quality, you know very well, if a blaster or a human is doing blasting operation, there is a chance of error in that. But if robot is doing, then no need, it removes the complete risk of human error, whether it is daytime or nighttime. It gives a constant high quality and the correct degree of roughness. And then the safety. In the previous slides, I have clearly told you, whenever a human blaster is doing blasting, what happens is that he has to wear the complete personal protection equipment. Otherwise, it is harmful to him. Even after wearing the personal protection equipment, also there are some dangerous operations which is to be carried out during the blasting, which is again unhealthy for a blaster. But a blast robot is concerned, there is no issues of personal protection equipment, nothing. It can work in extremely hard, unhealthy, or dangerous operations. And flexibility, as I told you, the wheel blast machine can blast only one type of shape or one type of workpiece. But with a blast robot, it is really flexible. Whatever type of workpieces you are having, you can just blast with blast robots. This is a comparison between human and robotic blasting. Here I have written the parameters. A human blasting, maximum nozzle size. Nozzle in the sense, I have told you, at the end of the blast hose, there will be a nozzle given to adjust the flow of the abrasive. So a maximum nozzle size a human can hold is 13 mm, but a robot can hold up to 20 mm nozzle. A number of nozzle, a normal blaster can take only one nozzle at a time, but a robot can take up to 2 nozzles at a time. The blast hose size, the maximum is 1.5 inch, but a robot can take up to 2 inch. So totally 2 blast hose, so totally 4 inch hoses can be accommodated on a blast robot. Maximum blasting pressure a human can withstand is 8 bar. Above 8 bar, human cannot do blasting, but a robot can take up to 12 bars. So theoretically, you can say one robot can replace up to 10 manual blasters. And then robots are very much efficient in batch production process. Only a skilled operator is needed to do the whole blasting job. Very easy controls and very easy to teach the robots. So teaching of robots is very simple. For what all products you have in your factory, you will be having a CAD drawing for that. Just feed that CAD drawing onto the robot and robot will select its paths. Just have a look at this video. You can see this is one type of robot where the control cabin is along with the robotic arm itself. So operator will be standing inside the control cabin here and he can control the arm. Again, Blastman Robotics is a part of Airblast Group. This is a Finland-based company and it is part of Airblast Group. This is actually one of the projects we did for Indian Railways in Roorkala, integrated coach factory in Roorkala. So you can see there, this is the workpiece to be blasted. It is one of the complicated shape. It cannot be blasted. I mean, it can be blasted, but it will take maybe 3 days or 4 days for a human to blast this complete thing. So what we did is we installed a robotic arm in the facility, and you can see how it works. So you can see it's a completely rusted surface, and the complete production is over, and then comes to the surface treatment stage. So what we are doing is that we will be just feeding this workpiece onto the blasting chamber. And this is the control cabin where the complete control of blasting can be done here. So this is the robot. Mm nozzles are given. 2 nozzles are given. You can see there 2 nozzles and 2 blast hose. So inside or outside or sidewise, wherever you want to blast, the robot will take it path. See how how efficient it is doing its job. If a manual blaster has to do this job, he has to have a ladder or a scaffolding, whatever is required. But for a robot, nothing is required. It will just select its path. This is the inside blasting. And these are the equipment which are used for recycling of the abrasives. So as I told you, after blasting, the abrasives will be falling onto the ground. That abrasives needs to be recycled again for the next usage. So for that, these equipments are used. And what all dust is generated inside this room has to be taken outside. For that, the dust collectors are also used. So you can see there, after blasting of about 45 minutes, a complete wagon or a complete bogie is done. You can see the quality of blasting. Everywhere it's the same. It's a constant degree of constant quality degree is maintained. This was the initial condition of that bogie, and after blasting, it has become like this. So after blasting, it is painted. Of course, painting is not done with the help of robots. This is another video for your easy understanding. This is actually the project we did for USSR, for the Russian railways. So after the production is completed, the condition of the bogie or the wagon will be like this, completely rusted. So you need to remove the complete rust from this, and you need to paint this. For that, In this project, we are using robots for that. This is inside movement. You can see there, it has, as I told you in the previous slides, it has about 8 axis movement. And with that, it can move inside the wagon also. It can do the blasting inside also. So after blasting, you need to put the primer onto the surface. After the primer, top coat. So now a question may arise in your mind. The videos which I have shown, that was only for the rail car industry. So is this robot applicable only for rail car industries? Answer is a big no. Any type of workpiece can be blasted with the help of robots. So just have a look at this video also. So the next, due to the time constraint, I'm just moving to the next slide. Industries requiring blasting and painting. I'll say all the industries require blasting and painting. Like all steel fabrication industries require blasting and painting, foundries, automobile industries, shipyards, railways, casting, wind turbine industries. All these companies require blasting and painting, including the glass factory. And the future job opportunities, mechanical engineers are preferred for all these jobs, like blasting engineers, painting engineers, quality assessment engineers, quality control engineers, safety engineers, environmental engineers. production engineers, maintenance engineers, and sales engineers. So mechanical engineers have a lot of opportunities for in the field of blasting and painting. After completion of your BE mechanical degree, of course, you will have to do some courses like SSPC and all for understanding the blasting quality, for understanding the painting quality. And then after that, lot of companies in India does blasting and painting in their factories. So for that, of course, you can do for you can find job opportunities everywhere. And these are the references which I've taken the details from our company websites, and then some of the textbooks as well as some of the papers, journal papers. Any questions from your side?
Hello, Johnson.
Yeshu sir, how are you?
How are you?
Good,
Hi. You are here or Gulf?
Yeah, I am at Saudi.
Okay,
I'm working for Airblast, Deputy General Manager.
Happy to see you.
Thank you very much.
After 2009.
Yes, almost 20 years now.
Yes. Okay. Any questions?
I think there is a question and answer.
Yeah, I have seen that.
Two questions are there.
Yeah, what sort of abrasive materials are used in abrasive blast? So as I told you, any type of abrasive can be used. That means any metallic abrasive or non-metallic abrasives. Example for metallic abrasives are steel shots, steel grit, stainless steel shot, cut wires. All these are metallic abrasives. And non-metallic abrasives examples are, as I told you, normal sand, which is having certain properties, and then garnet, aluminum oxide, glass beads, nutshell, ice, dry ice. All these things can be used as non-metallic abrasive. Does automobile engineers have any good job opportunities? Yes, of course. As I told you, the robotic blasting is concerned. We have supplied the robots to many automobile industries like BMW and all, where after production, any production factories where a real production is happening, before coming to the final product, they need to undergo the surface treatment. So for that surface treatment, 100% blasting and coating is required. Then for a high pressure turbine blade made of titanium, which abrasive can be used? The turbine blades are not made of titanium, it is made of tungsten carbide. So for tungsten carbide turbines, the abrasives what we will be using will be metallic abrasives only. Either it will be steel shots or steel grit or cut wires, like that. Only metallic abrasives. The next question is, what is space application for the surface treatment technology? Of course, as I told you, wherever production is happening, before releasing the final product, a surface treatment is required. So for the space also, I will give an example. We have supplied one blast room and paint room to NASA in USA, where the blast robots are given. And for US Air Force also, we have supplied a paint room. I do have some photos of that, but I cannot give you some details as it is confidential. So yes, there are chances in space area also, where the production is there. Of course, you will be having that. If you are doing blasting inside the pipes of train coaches, how will you collect the dust or excess abrasive? Good question. I will just give I'll just share my screen. Give me a minute. Can you see the screen? This is actually a vacuum recovery system, which is supplied by Airblast again. So here what happens is that this is the complete system. This is a complete system which works on electricity. And when the motor is running, there will be hoses which is coming outside this portion. And this hoses will be about 4 inch. And what all abrasives is falling onto the ground will be sucked with high pressure into that system. And then it can be deposited back to the blasting chamber. I think it is clear now. So these are vacuum recovery system. So vacuum recovery systems are used for sucking or recover the spent or used abrasives from the train bogie and all. If you are doing blasting, it's okay. As a person from textile domain, I would like to know about PPEs. Wheel and robotic blasting looks very safe. Do they still need PPEs? Can I get some information about the textile-based PPE used and the companies which manufacture them? I'm not sure about the PPEs of textile because we deal only with blasting and painting. And as I told, as you have mentioned here, the wheel and robotic blasting looks very safe. Do they still need PPEs? No, because the control of these robots is taking place inside the cabin. So it's an air-conditioned cabin, and the complete control can be done inside the cabin itself. And if you want to do some kind of maintenance, then you have to completely shut down the system. And without PPEs, you can go into the blast room. There is absolutely no problem. So if a rod is rusted or any other metallic surface, of course, the rusting will be uneven. That means somewhere the rusting will be more and somewhere the rusting will be less. Then how do you decide the pressure every time? Because the place where there is less rusting, we put the same high pressure that may spoil or ruin the metallic surface also. So how we maintain this pressure for different areas? Yeah. Yes, sir.
He's not an electrician. He's a carpenter.
Okay. Fine. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. This is a very good question. Vinay has asked a very good question. The rust will be uneven on the surface, and due to this unevenness, how can you decide how much pressure to be given onto each surface? Yes, it's a good question. As you have seen, if a human is blasting, then he knows how to do the blasting. So he's a professional blaster. So a professional blaster knows how to do a blasting.
Okay, sir, I will speak to him. Whether he need to be present today, sir?
You continue, no problem.
Yeah. So a professional blaster, as I told you, a professional blaster knows what to be done onto the surface. If the output, what you have to get is SI2 or SI2.5 or SI3, then he knows what to be done. So he can control the blasting pressure in each and every surface, and he can do the blasting. But in case of wheel blast machine, as I told you, there is no control, and that was one of the disadvantage of wheel blast machine. And that is the reason the next step, robotic blasting was done. And robotic blasting, of course, it can control the it can identify each and every area, and it can do the blasting. There is no problem at all. Is AI introduced in blasting? Yes, of course. That is how robotic blasting works. In case of quality testing department, they would use some non-destructive testing equipment. In this case, the blasted surface will be detected as a defect in the process because the equipment they can use detect up to micron level, and paint materials are not detected in that case. Could this be a case in quality checking? No. As I told you, any product is concerned, before it goes to the final stage, it has to be surface treated. It has to be blasted, and painting must be done. Even if it is a mobile, or even if it's a bottle, or any product is concerned, it has to undergo the surface treatment. Otherwise, it cannot be gone as a final product. So for that case, in quality testing also, it will not be detected as a defect, because the only thing what they will do, whether the surface profile what the customer wants to have, because each and every product must be having this certain surface profile, and certain thickness of paint should be applied. The quality testing department will check only the surface profile as well as the painting coating thickness only.